Did you ever wonder if there was any rule or logic to accentuating Spanish words or putting stress on Spanish words? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back to another Spanish lesson with me, Eva. Today we are continuing our explanation of accentuate or how to accentuate Spanish words, okay? Where to place the accent or where to place the stress or which part of the word, which syllable to pronounce more, let's say, not necessarily loudly, although it's a very Spanish thing to speak loudly, but more, let's say, forcefully, okay? So, we already had one lesson where I explained the first step, and it's a very, very important step. Without understanding how to divide words into syllables, this second step is useless. Today I will tell you the rule, but if you don't know how to divide words into syllables, this rule doesn't mean anything because you won't be able to apply it, okay? So if you haven't done it yet, if you haven't watched the previous lesson, part 1 of our TILDE series, do pause this video, go back, watch the first one, and then come back here to continue, okay? Why? Because it's very important to divide Spanish words into the exact number of syllables, okay? And why was there a whole lesson about it? Because there are situations or there are words where, for example, a word like, I don't know, a simple word like a waitress, camarera, no? That's easy to divide into syllables. Camarera. We have one vowel, one syllable. A, e, a. Camarera. Another one, a name, Valentina. Valentina. Again, 4 vowels, 4 syllables. Clever or smart or ready is listo. Listo. 2 vowels, 2 syllables, okay? And most of the time that's what you're going to find. You will find that each syllable is basically a chunk of a word that contains 1 vowel. But sometimes what you will find, and that's why it's really important to go back to that lesson and watch that first, sometimes you will find 2 vowels right next to each other, okay? And then you need to know, do we separate them? Does each one go into a syllable of its own, or do they stay together in the same syllable, okay? Again, I'm not going to go into explaining that. I had a whole lesson explaining it, including a practice, an exercise that we did together, or that you can do with me if you watch it. So today I'm just going to assume that you know how to divide Spanish words into syllables, and today I'm going to give you the rule, explain what the rule says, and then we're going to see if the rule really corresponds with the reality, with the way the Spanish accentuate words, okay? Good. So first, the rule, okay? Again, it all starts with syllables, okay? So let's imagine that we have, I don't know, a word with 4 syllables, okay? Doesn't matter, 3 or 4 or 5. The important thing to keep in mind is that the Spanish start at the back and then they work their way to the front, okay? So this is, we can say, the first, the second, the third, the 4th, etc. syllable, okay? So we are working in this direction, okay? Backwards. Okay, when I say the first, I really mean the first starting at the end. In other words, the last syllable. If you hear me say the second, it's the second from the end. In other words, the penultimate syllable, okay? Good. Okay. The rule of accentuation is very simple, and basically it only allows the last two syllables to be the stronger ones, the accentuated ones, the stressed ones, obviously not both at the same time, okay? So either the last one or the penultimate, okay? The rule does not contemplate any other syllable being accentuated, okay? Either this one or this one, okay? And what does the rule say about when it's number one and when it's number two, when it's the last one and when the penultimate? Well, it's really very easy. For the last one to be accentuated, the word must end with a consonant. Okay? So if a word ends in a consonant, except it cannot be an S or an N. Any other consonant except an S or an N, then the accent will be on the last syllable, okay? For example, motor. Okay, this is an easy one to understand. A motor, motor in Spanish. Another easy one to understand, coral. Coral. Again, motor, this syllable is accentuated. Coral, this last syllable is accentuated. I don't know, a longer one, happiness is felicidad. Felicidad, again, it's the last syllable that's accentuated. So we have consonants R, L, D at the end, and it's this last syllable that is stronger than all the others, okay? Motor, coral, felicidad, okay? I hope you can hear it as well, okay? So, and if it doesn't end in a consonant, but the word ends in a vowel, including now S and N, so S and N, then it's the penultimate, okay? So, just a few examples. I don't know. Life is vida. Vida. I. Okay? The penultimate, the second one from the end, no? Is accentuated. What happens if we make this noun plural? Because every noun can be made plural, and things would get tricky if then the accent changed to a different syllable. That's why the S doesn't count as a consonant here. The S and the N are here with the vowel, okay? So even if we make this noun plural and we're talking about lives of many, or many lives of a cat, the accent is still on this penultimate syllable, okay? It doesn't change place. It's still vidas. No? Okay, another example would be, I don't know, I buy is compro. Okay? Compro. O is the accentuated one. Compro. Compro. okay? And etc. Okay, I will give an example where the ending here changes. They buy is compran. We've changed this O for an N, but the accent is still here. Compran on the penultimate one. Just to give you, sort of help you understand why the S and the N are an exception. So we said here consonant except S and N. Why? Because they very often appear in Spanish words once we start changing the endings, either because we are creating plurals or because we are conjugating verbs, okay? S and N are both very common endings, and in order to avoid for this accent to jump back and forth from one syllable to another, in order to keep it in the same place and make things simple, S and N count. Obviously they're not vowels, they're consonants, but they, let's say, go in the same category as the vowels here, in this case, okay? Good. Okay, so what happens when this rule is broken? What happens when we have a word ending in a consonant, but it's not this last syllable that's accentuated? If you listen to the Spanish and you hear, but wait, it ends with a consonant and yet they are not accentuating the last syllable, something is wrong. Well, nothing's really wrong. It just means they've broken the rule, and in writing they will need to indicate that. They will need to say, oops, sorry, mea culpa, with a tilde, okay? So every time you hear a word that ends with a consonant, not counting S and N, of course, that ends in a consonant and yet it's not accentuated on the last syllable, you know that that word carries a tilde. Where? Well, the syllable that is accentuated, okay? So I'll give you a few examples. I don't know, heart is, no, that one goes in the other one, sorry. I need to give you a different one here. A word ending with a consonant, L, and yet we don't say arbol. A tree in Spanish is not arbol, it's árbol, okay? So normally we would expect bol to be the accentuated syllable, okay? But it's not, it's árbol, and because that means that we've broken the rule, we have to say, sorry, it's here, árbol, okay? Another example, I don't know, similar, is an angel. Again, it ends with a syllable, and we would say, normally, you would expect the Spanish to say ángel, angel, and yet it's ángel, okay? An angel or a name as well. Grass or a lawn in Spanish is césped, césped. So this one is the stronger one of the two. However, we would really expect this one to be the stronger one because it ends with a consonant. Well, no. Césped, okay? And maybe one more, sugar. Again, it ends with a consonant. You would expect sugar to be azúcar, and yet it's not azúcar, it's azúcar. So again, here comes the tilde. Okay? Again, I said it at the beginning, tilde only indicates that the rule has been broken, nothing else. Okay? If the rule hasn't been broken, like we've seen here, we don't need tilde, okay? Which doesn't mean that these words are not accentuated, that they don't have a syllable that's stronger than all the others. Of course they do, but because it's the syllable that we would expect to be stronger, there's no need to put a tilde there, okay? Good. Okay, and a few words ending in a vowel, an S or an N, that obviously break the rule. I started writing this one earlier. Heart in Spanish is corazón. Corazón. Now, ending with an N, we would expect ra, this syllable, to be the stronger one. Corazón, but it's not. You've never heard anyone say corazón in Spanish. It's always corazón. And because, again, we've broken the rule, we need to put the tilde where we now have the stronger syllable, not the one that we expected, the new one, so to speak, okay? Corazón. Rhythm in Spanish, okay, you can say ritmo, but also compás, okay, or the beat. The beat is compás. Again, it ends with an S. We would expect this one, compás, to be the stronger one, and yet it's this one, okay? Compás. Then daddy in Spanish is papá. Again, this is a vowel. We would normally expect the accent to fall here, papa, and yet it's not papa, it's papa. Same with mama, mummy. Okay, papa and mama. Okay, good. Now you understand where the accent should be, and if it's not, you know you have to put the tilde. Okay, so the rule is here, and any deviation from the rule, either to the left or to the right here, has to be signaled, indicated with the tilde, with the graphic accent. Okay, good. Okay, just like we did in the previous lesson, where I explained how to divide Spanish words into syllables, we are now going to go back to our text, and we are going to see if any of the words in the text are breaking the rule and need to have the tilde. Okay? Okay, let's have a look. Okay, welcome back to another interactive exercise. We are still working with our Father, the prayer, the Catholic prayer in Spanish, Padre Nuestro, okay? And as I said in the previous lesson, in our previous exercise, Padre Nuestro as a name of a prayer is written together, Padre Nuestro, but really they are two words, Padre Nuestro, our Father, okay? And that's exactly how the prayer begins. Okay, so in the previous lesson, we used this text, the words of our Father, to practice dividing words into syllables. So that first step, you should already have it done. At the end of the exercise, I also checked and made sure that you got it right. So if you made a mistake, you had a chance to correct it, okay? So what you've got now already is these words divided into syllables. What I want you to do now is, now that you know the rule, I would like you to just, however you want it, you can highlight it with a different color, you can underline it, or you can put an X underneath. Don't do anything above words, because in some cases you will have to put a tilde, so you don't want to get confused. But somehow mark the syllable that the rule says should be the strongest one. Okay, so go from word to word. Again, I'm not going to read it in Spanish because I will give it away. Go from one word to another and just mark the syllables that the rule says should be stressed, should be stronger than the rest in that same word. Okay, so take your time. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Mark these syllables, and only in words that have more than one, obviously, because if you have a word with one syllable, then we don't need to worry about this. Okay, so go find those words that have 2 or more syllables and then mark the syllable that should be accentuated. And again, just to remind you, the rule only allows the last 2 syllables to be accentuated. Okay, and if you've listened carefully to my explanation, you know when we accentuate, or when the accent is on the last syllable and when it's on the one before the last. Okay, so take your time and highlight or underline the syllables that should be stronger. Okay, good. I think you've had enough time. Let's see how it goes. So we'll only have a look at those words that have 2 or more syllables, okay? The first one is padre. Padre. Okay, the accent is on the penultimate syllable, not on the last one, on the penultimate, and the rule says that it should be there anyway, so no tilde here. The next one ends with an O, another vowel, and again we expect the accent to be again on the penultimate syllable, and the word goes nuestro. Nuestro, not nuestro, it's nuestro. So it is the penultimate syllable that's accentuated, so again we don't put any tilde here. Then we have es and tas, okay? It ends with an S, and we would expect the penultimate syllable to be accentuated. However, the Spanish say estás. Estás, in this case, okay? Que estás. And because the rule is broken, now we do need the tilde on A. Estás. En el cielo. Cielo, okay? Cielo, cie is accentuated as it should be, so no tilde. Santificado. Santificado. Ca is accentuated as it should be because it ends with a vowel, so it's the penultimate one. Ca. Cado. Santificado. Again, no tilde necessary here. Then we have se and a. Sea. Again, it ends with an a vowel, so we expect se to be accentuated, and it is. Sea. Okay, again, no tilde necessary here. Nombre. Nombre, according to the rule, nom is accentuated, so again, no tilde. Venga, same thing. It ends with a vowel, and it's ben that's accentuated, so no tilde. Venga. Nosotros. Nosotros. Again, ends with an S. The penultimate syllable is accentuated, so all fine here. Nosotros. Tu reino. Reino ends with a vowel, and the penultimate syllable is accentuated, rey, reino. The next one ends with a vowel, so we want ga, or we expect ga to be accentuated. However, it's not agase, it's agase. Agase, which means that this a has tilde, okay? Otherwise, we would have to say agase, but it's not agase. The Spanish say hágase. So here comes our first or second tilde, hágase, on a, on the first a or the first a. Voluntad, voluntad. This one ends with a consonant and it's the last syllable that's accentuated. So no tilde here. Voluntad. En la tierra, tierra, tierra. Again, ends with a vowel and the penultimate syllable is accentuated, so all fine here. Como, como, same thing. Vowel, penultimate syllable, and that's where the accent really is. En el cielo, cielo, same thing. Ends with a vowel and it's the penultimate syllable that's the strongest in this word. Danos, danos, no tilde here. Hoy, nuestro, nuestro, no tilde here. Pan de, cada, cada. And then we have a tricky one. Because this is a diphthong, we have a weak I and a strong A, so a weak and a strong vowel. We would expect them to be together in the same syllable and the strong vowel to be the accentuated one. So we would normally expect this word to be pronounced dia. However, it's not pronounced dia, it's pronounced dia. What does that mean? It means that the weak vowel, as I mentioned before, went to the gym, pumped up some muscles and became strong as well. And now with I being strong and a or a, another strong vowel, they no longer fit together into the same syllable. Now that I has become strong as well, now I carries the accent and we have to put tilde there because we would normally not expect a weak vowel in a diphthong to be accentuated. Okay? So we have a tilde on the I, on I, and this tilde or this strong I or strong I is now a separate syllable. So we have di, a. Okay? Okay, let's keep going. Perdona. Perdona, all fine here. Nuestras, all fine here. Ofensas, same thing. We're not breaking any rules. Como, fine. And now we have también, también, okay? The word ends with an N. So we would expect tam to be accentuated, to be the stronger syllable. However, it's bien. Bien, or the last syllable, is the stronger one here. So we need to put tilde on e here, okay? Normally, we would expect the accent to fall on the penultimate syllable, but it's really on the last one. So the last syllable, the e, has to have tilde. Nosotros, nothing wrong here. Perdonamos, perdonamos, again, everything's fine here. a los que nos ofenden, ofenden. Again, the accent is where it should be. The stress is on the penultimate syllable. No nos dejes, dejes, fine. Caer, fine. It ends with a consonant, R, so it's the last syllable that's accentuated, that's stressed. Caer, caer. En la tentación, tentación, tentación. It ends with an N, and we would expect ta to be the stressed syllable, the one with the stress or with the strongest one. However, it's the last syllable again. Tentación, tentación. So we need to put tilde on O. Okay? Y líbranos, líbranos. Li is the accentuated one, and it's the one before the penultimate one, the antepenultimate. Okay, so it's 3 steps back. It's not the last one, not the one before. It's the one before that one, which means automatically we need to put the tilde, because the rule never allows the third one or the fourth one even to be accentuated. Del mal, nothing there. And amen, again, ends with an N. We would expect a to be the stronger one, but it's men. So a tilde on e here. Okay, so all in all we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 6 tildes that we had to put here in this short prayer. Okay, so just to say it one more time without, talking in between, I'll just read it one more time and you can listen how it sounds. Okay, so Padre Nuestro, or Our Father in Spanish. Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día. Perdona nuestras ofensas como también nosotros perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. No nos dejes caer en la tentación y líbranos del mal. Amen. Okay. Even if you're not a Catholic, even if you're not Spanish, it's cultural, it's interesting, I think, to know this prayer. But today, of course, we used it to practice the accentuation and when not to put tilde. Okay, good. Okay, so that was all for our interactive part of the lesson today. I hope you got your accents. I hope you got your tildes right. And let's go back to our classroom now. Okay, well done, well done. Good job putting those 6 tildes on those 6 words where it was necessary. In all other words where you didn't put the tilde, it's because those words followed the rule, okay? And you also saw an example of a word where we initially had a diphthong, we had a weak and a strong vowel together in the same syllable, only to realize that while we were looking the other way, the weak one was pumping, building some muscle, and it became strong. That was the word dia, which if you just look at it without the tilde yet, you realize that you have 2 vowels together, One is weak, one is strong, so that means they go in the same syllable. We don't separate this into di, a, it's dia. However, when you listen to the Spanish, they don't say dia, they say dia. It's this, the weak syllable, that's accentuated, and that in that moment we realize that I has been working out. It built some muscle, it's not weak anymore, now it's strong. And now that I is strong, and of course A is strong, now we have two syllables here, di and a. Okay? Again, because the rule was broken, because we placed the accent on what we thought was a weak vowel, I, because the rule was broken, we had to put tilde, and of course now we need to treat I differently. We need to say, yes, you are strong as well. Okay, good. So that's something that you saw in the exercise. But now I just want to point out a couple of more things, just so that I sort of wrap it up for today. The first thing is that because the rule only allows the accent to be on these two syllables, anytime you hear the accent fall here or here, I don't think it will ever be anywhere further there. So anytime you see or hear a word where the stronger syllable is the third one, or sometimes the fourth one, there are some examples, the fourth one from the end, you automatically know that you have to place a tilde there, okay? Because the rule never contemplates this possibility of having the accent on the third or the fourth syllable of any word, okay? Again, I'm talking third, fourth, starting at the end, okay? So those words where the accent is on the third syllable or the fourth, they will always have the tilde, okay? Because the rule does not contemplate that possibility. And I don't know, just to give you an example here. A chamber is cámara, okay? Cámara. Again, it's on the third one. I don't know any examples of words where the accent is on the fourth one, so I won't even try to think of one, but maybe just a few more where you have it on the third one. Page is página, página, and even the word syllable in Spanish, sílaba, sílaba, has the tilde, no? In all these words, cámara, página, sílaba, because the accent is on the third one, we have to put tilde. We don't even have to worry what the rule says. We know that the rule never imagined that possibility. Okay, and another thing, and then I'm really done for today, is also to point out that sometimes you will find words that are written the same. There are not that many, okay? So at first they look the same. Okay, so we have a word with three syllables, nu, me, ro. Okay, this word can actually have an accent on all three. Okay, there are actually three different words that mean three different things, and each one has a different syllable accentuated. Now let's see what the rule says. Okay, it ends with an o, which is a vowel, so the accent has to be here on me. Okay, let's say the first one is numero. Okay, numero means I enumerate something. Okay, it's a verb. I enumerate something. Numero, okay? And because the rule is respected, we haven't broken it, we don't need to put any tildes, okay? And it stays as it is, numero. However, if we put the accent on the first one or the last one, we need to mark it with the tilde. Numero is a noun and it means a number. Un numero de teléfono, a telephone number. Numero, okay? And numero, again, we are back to the verb to enumerate something, to give numbers to something, enumerate. And this is in the past tense, but it's not me doing it anymore. Now he or she did it, okay? He enumerated or she enumerated, okay? Put numbers or assigned numbers, maybe to doors in the street or any other situation, okay? So they look like the same word, and yet depending on where the accent is, we may or may not have to mark it, and depending on where the accent is, the word means a different thing, okay? This happens sometimes in Spanish. It's not so common, but don't be surprised if you see it, or if you see two and you think, how can it be two? One of them must be wrong. No, it just means that they're not the same word. They don't mean the same thing, okay? Good. Okay, well, that's all for today. Now you know how the accents work. Now you know that when you break the rule, you need to put the tilde. However, there is one more lesson to give, part 3, to explain or tell you about situations where we are not necessarily, or no, we are not breaking this rule, and yet we still need to put the tilde, okay? The so-called special cases, okay? So there will be one more lesson, so stay tuned, where I will tell you of those words where we are not breaking the rule and yet we still have to put the tilde, okay? So stick around and find out about those as well. But for the time being, I'm glad that you stuck with me through these 2 lessons. Thank you for doing the exercise with me as well, and good luck. Good luck with accentuating the words. And I don't necessarily mean in writing, but when you speak, more importantly, when you speak. But if you do see it in writing, then you will have no problem knowing how to accentuate it, okay? If you see a tilde, it's easy. You know that's the syllable that's accentuated. And if there is no tilde, then you know that the rule has been applied, and then you have to choose between these 2 syllables only. Okay, great. Take care, and I'll see you in the next lesson.